Cuba, it's me. Welcome to episode 188 of the W.I.L.L.I.W show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now today, I wanted to talk about the passing on of knowledge. Like back in the day, when some of the old civilizations, they didn't have like reading or writing or language, the way they got their knowledge is that it was passed down from the elders, from one generation to the next. And that can be said the same for wrestling. Like, you go to wrestling school and you learn your craft, you learn your basics, you learn how to fall and do the chain wrestling. But I found I learned the most either in the car rides or wrestling a veteran. There's been a lot of people that have been good to me over the years that have given me advice, and the only thing that sucked is when you're 18 and 19 years old and you're all gung-ho and you're like, I just want to do flip off the top. You don't understand what they're trying to get at. You feel like you can't be hurt, you feel invincible, so you don't need to take the older guy's advice, or you just want to do it your way. You just got to do it your way, and I'm stubborn, and I get that, but over the years, there's been a lot of great guys that have helped me and give me advice, even if I didn't realize what they were saying, or I didn't take it, or I'm like, oh, that sounds really good, but that's not for me, and then it's almost like having a kid, and your mom's like, oh yeah, your parents tell you this and that when you're a kid, and you don't want to listen, and then you get older and you're like, oh, now that I have a kid, I know what you were saying, Mom, right? But I just want to thank, there's been a lot of people that have given me advice over the years, and so to the other wrestlers, what is the best advice you've ever received? And if you don't want to say what the advice was, who has given you the best advice? Like for me, I was lucky. When I started, I had Juan Ortiz and Sid Summers. They really helped me. And then Gaza would always give me advice, although I didn't clue in until later. And then I had the Highlanders. They would do a lot of shows, and they would tell me what they were picking up on. And a lot of good guys. Reggie Marley and Ruffy Silverstein, Scott Chase, Quincy Valentino, guys like that that really had done lots of matches, and you could pick their brains. And like when you got a chance to wrestle with them, that's what I would do. I wouldn't, like, if they asked me, hey, what do you want to do here? What do you do here? Then I would, but if not, I'd just be like, whatever, yes sir, no sir, what do you want to do? And I learned a lot, especially gaining my confidence, where when you first start out, you want to know every single thing you're doing. And then sometimes that's the worst way to do it, because you can plan all this stuff out, but if something goes wrong, you're like, where do I go now? What spot do I go to? And also the fans might not like what you're doing out there, so you gotta switch it on the fly, and that could be even harder. So I got lucky to have a lot of veterans that would just say, hey man, we'll figure it out there. Don't worry, it'll be fine. And that really gave me a lot of confidence, and also that pretty much is the best way to do it. Like, you need to know what the ending is, because whoever's paying your paycheck, they get to decide what the ending is. But I mean, once you know the beginning and the end, the rest of it's like color, fill in the blanks, paint by numbers. And I've just been really blessed to be around a lot of great veterans. I'm sure I missed a couple guys. I'm sorry. I just wing this show. I just do it. I just whatever happens. And then I always think about after the show. As soon as I'm done, usually, as soon as I'm done talking on the W.I.L.L.I.W show, I'm like, I should have said this, or I should have said that, or I should. But you know what? Just like in the ring, just go out there and decide after what was good and what wasn't. So I kind of just like to improv the show a bit. Like, I get an idea of what I'm going to talk about for the day, and then just go with it. Just go with it. The old improv, right? But I honestly feel that's the best way to learn the business. And now, I mean, it's a lot easier for the generations now, because they have a lot more wrestling schools. They have a lot of these veterans that have been around doing seminars and whatnot like that. And then they also have a lot of experienced wrestlers doing podcasts and stuff like that, and talk shows. So I feel like if you're 18 now and you come into the business, you had a way bigger edge on me, because there's so much knowledge out there, and a lot of people have written books too. But the difference is, the one thing that I had on you is when I got into the business, there wasn't as many wrestlers. So you had a better shot. So yeah, the kids coming in now, they have a lot more knowledge at their disposal, but it's even harder because there's way more wrestlers out there. So it's like a needle in a haystack. So your percentage of making it to the top is even harder than it was before. So it's kind of give or take. It's like good things and bad things. So there's some things I'm envious of people breaking in now, and there's some things that I'm glad it was the way I was when I broke in too. And so just want to know what's some of the advice that you got. Let me know on the show, because on the Willow Show, like or you get a leg drop, comment or you get a clothesline, subscribe or you get a suplex. Who helped you the most? Who gave you the best advice? And why did it mean so much to you? I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba!